Welcome to the Online Game Changer program. I'm excited that you're here and I'm happy that I'm here, sitting on this beautiful site at the Azores. I was walking for almost 2 hours, looking for the perfect location until I realized this was already the perfect location, near the Sete Cidades, the green and blue lake. The reason why I wanted to do this program is because I was asked a lot of the times the same questions by people. So the first one was, I sort of know what I want to do, but I'm just not getting there. And the second one was, I have the feeling I don't live life to the fullest, but why and how can I do it? How can I live life to the fullest? So that's the reason why I wanted to do this program, and let's get started immediately. The program contains 3 modules. The first one is why not? Ask yourself the question, why not? It builds awareness of what is keeping you from living life to the fullest. The second one is storm in your brain, where we get really creative and thinking of ways to push and kickstart your life and living life to the fullest. And the third one is magic of belief. You have to stick through it and then you will get there. Let's immediately start with the first module, why not? Why not contains 4 steps which I'm going to walk you through. The first one is the question why not. The second one is about the regrets you don't want to have. The third step is about habits and routines, a really important part of the first module. And the fourth step is about willpower. Every module contains some exercises. You can download them on the website. So the first step in the first module is why not? I get that question asked a lot by my 4-year-old son, and he asks me all the time, why not, mommy? And children just don't see boundaries, they only see opportunities. And that's actually a great thing. Adults most of the time think in boundaries. What's keeping you back? Why not? I want to do that, but that's sort of the same question. The word but and why not are used a lot of the times. And they're actually restraining yourself to living life to the fullest. So figure out, when are you saying the word but? When do you say why not? I want you to keep a list of them just for one day and see how often you say it and when you say it. And maybe that's the first step towards figuring out what's holding you back. The second step is regrets you don't want to have. I read a great book about it, written by Bronnie Ware. She guided people in their last stages of their lives, hundreds of them. And she did a poll and she figured out what the 5 biggest regrets were that they were having. And I want to share them with you. The first one is they wish they had the courage to stay true to themselves. They were not sticking true to their dreams. They had the regret that they let go of their dreams too easy. Second step, or the second regret, sorry. They wish they didn't work that hard as they did. An easy one. The third regret. They wish they had the courage to speak up and really tell the feelings they had. Speak about their feelings. The fourth regret, most common regret is they wish they nourished their friendship a bit more, or a lot more, I must say. And the fifth one, the last one, is they wish they allowed themselves to be happier. They live by their fears, and that the fears kept them in their old habits and their old lives, which weren't satisfying enough. So what to do with this book and this information? I would say write down a list of the things you don't want to regret at the end of your life. And you can use this list that's already been made for you, and probably some of them are the same for you as well, but you can extend it. And hopefully it helps you keep the spirit up and helps you bring more energy into the things you do want to do and have the courage to do them. We're already at step 3. So I'm trying to make this module as compact as possible. I don't want you to feel rushed by it, but I want you to keep up to speed and take you to already the next module. So the third step is about habits and routines, the most important step I feel from this first module. And why is that? Because a lot of the time when I coach people, or when they are saying, I know I want to change after they follow a workshop or a webinar or read a book, spoken to somebody interesting, but then they come back to their old lives, to their old habits and routines, and they just forget about everything they just learned. So that's why I wanted to talk to you about habits and routines. I read a great book about it. It's called The Power of Habits. And you don't have to read everything. You can also go to the website, The Power of Habits, and there are a lot of films on it. So that will get you into the topic and that give you more information. So in a nutshell, habits and routines, how do they work? Habits and routines are actually great. They help you through the day. Almost 80% of what you're doing is based on habits and routines, because otherwise you have to think about everything consciously. So some of the times you notice that a habit and routine is something you don't want to do. It just, yeah, it's now there. You feel that that old habit, and you can't get rid of it. And the eye opener, the game changer I got out of this book is that the habits are actually built up by three things: a cue, something that's triggering the habit, then a routine, the thing you're doing after the cue, and then the third one, of course, the reward. And the easiest part to change is in the note. I'm not saying it's easy, but the easiest part is the routine. So not the cue and not the reward. So for example, take a petrol station. That could be your cue. When you're driving a car, the cue is your petrol station. And your routine would follow like buying cigarettes or buying a snack because you're bored and you just wanted to have some distraction. And the book is talking about not changing the cue or the reward, something to do that you don't have to be that bored. It's talking about changing the routine. So instead of buying a snack, you could stop at the petrol station because that was your cue, but then call a friend and agree with them that you call them, so you get rid of that routine buying a snack. Of course, you need to know what your habits are. What is your cue? What is your routine? And what's your reward? And that's exactly what I want to ask you, to really think about your life and the stuff you want to change because you feel that you could live life more to the fullest. And if some routines are keeping you from doing that, and write down what's the cue, what's the routine, and what's your reward. And figure out what kind of routines you could do instead. We'll come to that creative part in the second module, but just get started on your game changers already. Of course, trying to change your routines will take a lot of willpower. And that's exactly what the fourth step is all about, willpower. The fourth step, willpower. A lot of books have been written about it. A lot of films have been made about willpower. So I'll keep it short. Willpower is like a muscle. You can train it. That's the good news. Bad news is you really have to train it. So you have to build your willpower. A small exercise has been done, or a study has been done with children. They were sitting in a room and there was a marshmallow in front of them. Maybe you already know this study. And they were told if they waited 15 minutes, they would get 2 marshmallows. A lot of the children, 70%, after a few minutes, took the marshmallow. They couldn't wait. But the children that waited, they followed all the children through several years. And they noticed that the kids who could wait were actually more successful in life. And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about friends, health, relationships, the important parts. So what they did was they learned in a second study kids how to distract themselves and to build on their willpower. So if there is a marshmallow in front of you, You could make a drawing, make up some stories, things to train your willpower to do what you really want to do, but you have an urge to do something else. So that's actually what I'm, sorry about the wind, that's actually what I'm asking you to do as well. See where you can use your willpower and train it. And as willpower is sort of like a muscle, it gets tired as well. So the things you want to change in your life, start with them in the morning when it's possible. Because at the end of the day, when you've worked and you had a lot of difficult discussions, or you raised your kids and that's tiring as well, then it's harder to use willpower. It's sort of empty. So the stuff you want to change, like doing more sports, try to do them in the morning when your willpower muscle is as fit as possible. So those were the 4 steps of why not. So ask yourself the question, why not? And list them down. Why? When did you say why not? And when did you say the word but? The second step was about the regrets you don't want to have. List them down and see where you should invest more. The third step was habit and routine is a really important part. See what your habits and routines are and figure out which routines you want to change that have the biggest impact to bringing you to living life to the fullest. And the fourth part is about willpower. Train your willpower muscle. Before I end this module, I just wanted to add one more thing. It's something I promised myself to do after my first online program I did last year, that I wanted to include exercise and food a bit more into the programs, because I really believe that if you're as fit as possible within the normal boundaries, and if you eat healthy, you really give yourself a kickstart to living life to the fullest. You make it yourself easier. So most of the times people say, I want to be healthier, but I just don't have the time, don't have the energy, I don't sleep well, I have children, I have work, blah, blah, blah. And those are actually all reasons why boundaries you make up yourself that you can't do that. So just one tip, which helps, really helps. Take the third step, the habits and routines, and define which cues and rewards you can take to build into the routine and exercise. So if you have a cue, for example, that you see the coffee machine, and normally, of course, you press the button and you drink your coffee, and that's reward. And routine was pressing the button and doing it into a cup. If you could do that, you see the coffee machine. Instead of immediately pushing the button, do sit-ups, push-ups, jog, jump, play with your kids, actively play, before you then push the button and have the reward of the coffee. It really helps. It gets you into the right flow to exercise more. And all those little small moments in one day will help you to get more fit. And hopefully, of course, the whole energy comes back to you, and it makes it easier for you to really exercise, like 1 hour or something like that. So take this tip. Exercise is proven to be the first thing that will help you kickstart your life. So if you do more exercise, if you are able to change that routine, that habit, it will be easier for you to change other habits as well. So let's close up this module. I really hope you now know what is keeping you from living life to the fullest. And let's go to the second module. It's about storming your brain. Get real creative. It's getting really windy right now. So really fit, storming your brain. So yeah, maybe you should go outside as well and hear the second module, storming your brain. And say bye, because you probably can't hear me anymore. I'm going to walk back. Thanks for watching the first module. Go on, use your exercises, they really help. And see you